What's going on, Detroit Lions fans? Welcome back to the Detroit Den with Steve. I got a good one for you today. Real quick, I will say having these last couple weeks off work and being able to talk Lions football while my wife's working and I get to wake up early, I get to go do my chores, hit the gym, smash those 10-pound dumbbells, come back out to the house, talk some Detroit Lions football is absolutely awesome. It's what I love doing. Today's episode, I'm going to give you guys a little warning. There may be some spoilers. I'm going to be talking about the Netflix series that Amon-Ra St. was featured on called Wide Receiver. I stayed up all night till about 3 in the morning, binging that. Got about 3 hours of sleep, did my chores. Here I am talking Detroit Lions football. So just want to give you guys a warning. I am going to be talking about some things in that series. There shouldn't be anything like really overly shocking because all of the footage is from last season. So you guys know how every game goes, unfortunately, and I will be talking about the NFC Championship game. And there's some little things I noticed in there that I want to talk about, mainly in regards to Dan Campbell. So stick around. I'll hit that up at the end. I got a good point I want to make about that, and then we'll just move on and get ready for 2024. But this was a phenomenal series that Netflix put out. If you guys watched last year, they had the series was called Quarterback, and they had Patrick Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, and Marcus Mariota. That's what I call them. They couldn't find any quarterbacks to do it, or who were willing to do it and be followed around for a whole year. So luckily, we were, as Lions fans, blessed that Amon-Ra St. agreed to this, and they changed it to wide receiver. Him, Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams, George Kittle, and Deebo Samuel. So obviously, you know, the last couple episodes are heartbreaking for us, but getting to see a little bit of behind-the-scenes stuff, man. Again, knowing how the games turned out sucks. Sometimes it was good in the beginning, but toward the end, I kind of just had this pit in my stomach, like just knowing what was coming. But we just got to give a quick shout out to Brad Holmes, because building a foundation of a team, when you start building your home, you want to lay good bricks. Bricks like Penei Sewell, Amon-Ra St. Aiden Hutchinson, those types of players that you just kind of build and build and build. And Brad Holmes has done nothing but hit home runs in every single draft. That's what gets us excited for the upcoming season. Seeing how these rookies can improve our team, some of our free agents. So just building that foundation. And Amon-Ra St. is one of the most important players on this team. Like I've said it before, way before I even watched this Netflix stuff, that a couple years ago when we played New England and St. was hurt, our offense was putrid. We don't have to worry about that now. If St. has to miss a game, we have enough guys who can step up, but he's still the heart and soul of that offense. Him and Penei Sewell, I would say. So I don't want to downplay Penei Sewell. Brad Holmes' first ever draft pick, greatest offensive lineman the Detroit Lions have ever had. Hall of Famer. Like, we want to get that Super Bowl for him too, so he can just check all those boxes. But St. Brown's work ethic is absolutely insane. Like what this guy puts his body through, you have to respect it. The first thing that was really jumping out at a lot of people, and I saw some comments on Twitter that nobody really knew that he completely tore his oblique completely off the bone. I've had I've never had an oblique injury. I'm not trying to compare it, but I know when you have your core taken away from you, it is extremely uncomfortable. You really can't like lay down and get comfortable. You can't stand up and get comfortable. Trying to sleep hurts. So for him to go out, St. with a torn oblique, completely torn, and still play football in the NFL where guys are literally trying to kill you, it's just amazing to me that he was able to do that. And like I will never question this guy's toughness or pretty much any NFL player, because I know what they go. I don't know what they go through, but I can kind of understand that what they go through is absolute hell, and then they have to go in on Monday and do it all over again right after the game. It's just a cycle that just never ends for a whole season, and that's why the NFL has the shortest season of all the sports, because it's just so grueling. So shout out to St. Brown for just being so tough, man, and just embodying the city of Detroit and just being tough, man. I love it. One of my favorite players. So ever since this Netflix series started coming out, like slowly, like I've seen St. B kind of popping up on some other social media platforms, like being interviewed and whatnot. And he was on the Pivot podcast with Ryan Clark and Channing Crowder. If you guys aren't familiar with that, Ryan Clark, they're both former NFL players. Ryan Clark's probably the more famous. He's on a lot of ESPN stuff, does some stuff with Dan Orlovsky and all that. I can't remember exactly what show he's on ESPN. I don't watch it, but I do like Ryan Clark. And they were just kind of rizzing him up, giving him some shit, kind of just being boys. No disrespect was taken, I don't think, but you could just kind of tell St. Brown still has that chip on his shoulder when they were asking him about the draft night and the 16 receivers ahead of him. And St. B pretty much said, like, I'm not worried about that anymore. That kind of fueled me for a while, but now I'm just focused on my own goals. So I like to see that mentality maturing and growing. Like St. Brown, I wish I could just give him a pat on the back because this dude's just a dude, man. He wrote in his notebook what his goals were for last year in 2023, and he hit them all pretty much right on the head. He said he wanted 1,500 yards, 10 touchdowns, check both boxes. He accomplished both those. And how he was snubbed from the NFL Pro Bowl is something that I'll have to ask the good Lord when I get up to heaven and just be like, hey, what was the process behind this? Because I know it's a popularity contest. In the city of Detroit, we have the best fans in the world. Like it's not a debate. I've lived in some other cities. I've been to a lot of other games on the road. Nothing compares to Detroit, and maybe it's my hometown bias. I don't give a shit. We're the Steels. We're the Motor City. I almost said Steel City because I was thinking the other team that's close and with how much they love football is Pittsburgh. I'll give them that, but we're the Motor City, man. And it's just, we have that saying of Detroit versus everybody, and it's every aspect of Detroit. Like our players, our town, like we're always overlooked, kind of counted out. St. Brown getting snubbed from the Pro Bowl. It should be if I were the NFL, I'd be embarrassed. Like I'll just flat out say that it's embarrassing that the NFL didn't put this guy in the Pro Bowl. And I know he did make it as an alternate, but he should have been one of the top guys in there. Doesn't matter. Move on. So this Netflix series, again, it covers 2023. So there's really no spoilers, but like I said, I'm going to get into some stuff that I heard and some comments that I made and some mentalities that I can relate to. When we get to the NFC Championship game episode, I think it's starting at the end of the second to last episode. We start kind of, getting that pit in my stomach, and I'm like, God, I know it's coming. I'm gonna have my heart freaking ripped out again. This is gonna be brutal to watch, and it was up 24-7 at halftime, and the show pans to both of St. Brown's brothers, and they have the same mentality I did, and I'm 100% guilty about this, man. Like they're talking, hey, we're 30 minutes from the Super Bowl, like let's go. I can't believe we're going. I'm guilty. Halftime of that game, you can ask my wife. I was sitting there on my phone. I'm looking at flights to any city near Las Vegas that's not Los Angeles. Can I land somewhere halfway and drive the rest, get a cheap little hotel, a nosebleed ticket just to get there and watch the Lions in a Super Bowl is a bucket list for me. So when that day comes, I will be there. But that's just kind of the mentality that I know a lot of other people had too, man. And it sucks because I know the excitement was there. But in the back of my head, I know I was thinking, this football game's not over. Like, there's still 30 minutes. San Francisco 49ers have a damn good team. And then when we go into halftime of this Netflix series, Dan Campbell said exactly what I wanted him to say. And I didn't hear it until I watched the show. So, again, this is something that if you haven't seen or if you have no interest in watching it, I'm going to talk about some stuff that he said. Dan Campbell, it's just a small clip in the show where he's pepping up the locker room and there's no cameras in there. It's just audio and he's yelling at the team, like in a good way. And he's pretty much saying, you have to make them go away. That 49ers team is not going to quit. You have to make them go away. We didn't. We were such a young team last year with not a lot of experience in this type of atmosphere or environment or much taste of success. We needed that loss. Like, it sucks, but I feel like in 2024, we're going to look back and say that San Francisco loss is what we needed. That's where the ESPN 30 for 30 is going to begin 25 years from now when the ESPN's doing a documentary on the city of Detroit and the Detroit Lions. We're going to that third and fourth quarter of that San Francisco 49ers game is going to be absolutely pivotal. It sucks to say I wanted that win more than anything, but I feel like that loss is really going to catapult this team. And my last thing, like I said in the beginning, I have something that Dan Campbell also said that I want to kind of hit on. When he talked about, we know we went for fourth down in that game 2 or 3 times and we were unsuccessful. And that was the philosophy of the Detroit Lions all season. Fourth down, we're going for it. We're not kicking field goals. We're here to put games away. And you live by it and you die by it. But Dan Campbell said, maybe it's my own flaw going for it so much on fourth down and having so much faith in my offense. I don't think that it's a flaw that he had faith in his offense. We just did not execute. The plays were there. Unfortunately, Reynolds had his worst time at his worst moment. Josh Reynolds, that is, with 2 huge drops in those games on fourth downs that were, honestly, it was the difference maker. If we complete one of those, we're probably going to the Super Bowl. We complete both of them, we're certainly going for the Super Bowl. We at least take a lot of time off the clock. But the fact that he said maybe it's my own flaw, it makes me wonder, and I want you guys to answer this question in the comments down below. With Dan Campbell admitting and identifying that it was a flaw, do you think we will see less fourth down attempts this coming season and going forward? I don't know. It kind of changes the dynamic and the philosophy of the whole team of grit. Like, this is what we know Dan Campbell's going to do. He's aggressive. So with him saying that, do you think he's going to change his philosophy? Do you think he'll start punting or kicking field goals more often? Leave it in the comments, guys. Stick around. Sorry if I spoiled this episode or for anyone who was planning on watching the docuseries. But again, it's nothing that no games that you don't already know what happens. So leave some comments down below. Hit that like button. Stick around. I'll be back later with another show.